Did you realize in every man is a lion and a lamb, a kid and a king? So how do we balance being tender when we have been so socialized to be tough? Let's talk about it. Oh, I'm mic'd up. Join me and let's mix it up. What's going on, family? How you doing? How you living? How's it going? What's happening? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. Today we're tackling the topic, the strength of a man. How to balance being tough and tender. So, hear me, I need you to thumbs up this video. Come on, family, help me out. Thumbs up this video. I'm growing your greatness. Help me to grow my channel. Thumbs up the video. Also hit the subscribe button as well. Family, just type the strength of a man. Come on, put some flex emojis in the chat. Yeah, put some flex emojis in the chat. And here's the thing, we really know how to do that. We know how to be strong. We know how to be tough. But how do you tightrope being tender? How do you tightrope being tough and tender? Simply because beyond what you possess below the waist, it's beyond that. Manhood is about more than what you possess below the waist. It's about what you are comprised of above the neck. It's about the size of your heart. It's about the size of your mind. It's about the strength within to win. Hear me, more than your body. True manhood, true masculinity is really through the lens of responsibility. That's the essence of it all. Because here's the thing, as men, we often find it hard to express the love that we are void of from within. To my queens who are watching, and check this out, just not even just my queens, my cheerleaders. I got some real queens who are watching who actually love a man, who love their father, who love their son, who love their children, who love the man that's in their life, who love their husband. Just type cheerleader. You're a cheerleader for him. Are you a cheerleader for the man in your life? Because this is what I need you to realize, ladies. As men, we are not emotionless. We have emotions. We have emotions. We just don't always know how to express it. That's where it gets a little murky. We don't always know how to express it. We haven't even necessarily been taught how to express it. We didn't see a great example of it either. Do you understand this? When a man is vulnerable, when he's emotionally available, when he's going to counseling or therapy to heal from psychological pain and emotional incarceration, that, hear me, he is going against the grain of everything that he was taught not to be in society. He's going against that grain. Because on the flip side, don't be vulnerable. You're being emotionally available before. Why are you having any emotions at all? Emotions? Why are you even being emotional? Addressing trauma, addressing triggers. To a certain degree, we're a novice to it. It's foreign to us. It's an anomaly. A man who does those things to heal, to go to counseling, to go to therapy, to be accountable. To a certain degree, oftentimes, he can be categorized as an anomaly. Because here's the thing, society in many of our homes taught us to only be tough without tenderness. Hard, but no heart. A lion, but not a lamb. A warrior, but not a comforter. Anything that has to do with emotions, we run from it because it's categorized as effeminate. Coupled with, we only saw it expressed by a woman, but never nurtured by a father or a mentor. Think about this. Many of our sisters, many of our queens grew up playing Ken and Barbie. Yeah, Ken and Barbie. Dating, Ken and Barbie. Married. Barbie was always dressed to the 9s or the 10s, whatever the case may be. You dressed her up. You did her hair. Ken had all the money. Ken had the car. Ken had the house. Ken had the clothes. Ken had the woman, being Barbie. But here's what Ken didn't have. Ken didn't have a head, and Ken didn't have a heart. Ken didn't have a brain in his head. Ken didn't have a heart. He had all of the exterior faculties. He had all the exterior accoutrements of what it looked like for him to operate in his manhood, or what success looked like for Ken. But oftentimes, us as men are like Ken. We got the money, we got the cars, we got the clothes, we have the prestige, we have the notoriety, we have the clout, we got the woman. But we're lacking heart. Why? Because being a man is hard work, but it's also heart work. Just because you have a heart doesn't mean you have a heart. And oftentimes, we have an icebox where our heart used to be. We become so cold. What is so unnatural has become so natural to us. We haven't tapped into the mentality in to reclaim our mindset. Masculinity is more than about money, it's about mentality. Family, we're having a courageous conversation. We're having a courageous conversation. Talking about the strength of a man, how to balance being tough and tender. I want you to contribute to this super conversation with a super chat, super sticker. That's available there. You can become a member of our YouTube channel. We got some tiers. Cheers for the tiers. Those 3 tiers are VIP, Royalty, OQP. Once you become a member, get a badge. That's why it's so colorful in here. I love seeing our members. I love seeing you all in the chat. If you don't have a badge, go get one. If you're not a member of our Eagles community, go ahead and become a member there too. TheEaglesAcademy.com. I love to talk about our acronym for Eagles: Empowered Authentically Gifted Leaders Envisioning Success. Yes, take a flight with us into your future. TheEaglesAcademy.com. Here's the thing. When it comes to tightroping toughness and tenderness, it's not oftentimes embraced. We never really saw the level to where a man can nurture. Very rarely, if ever, saw it. We saw it with a woman, but in many cases, we weren't nurtured as men by a father or a mentor. So here's the thing. When it comes to relationships, how can I be what I've never seen? How can I be what I've never taught to be? What I've never been taught to be? How can I be what I've never seen or become what I've never been taught to be? Is this making sense to anybody? So here's the thing. Now your identity is warped. Because oftentimes masculinity and vulnerability cannot coexist in the same space. And oftentimes that masculinity is seen as femininity. We know how to be a warrior, but do you know how to be a comforter? We know how to be a lion, but do you really know how to be a lamb? And on the flip side, this is what our ladies say. Well, I just want a man to be open. I just want a man to be vulnerable. I just want him to tap into his vulnerability. But here's the question. Can you really handle his pain and his vulnerability and still see that man as a king? Still see that man as a leader? Still see that man as a champion? Come on, family. Type king in the chat. Type king in the chat. Can you still embrace his vulnerability, my dear sister from another mister, my dear queen? Can you still embrace his vulnerability and not see him as a chump, but see him as a champion? Not see him as a weak. Not see him as weak, but see him as a warrior. Not see him as a whiner, but see him as a winner. Not see him as a chicken, but see him as an eagle. Can you still embrace the strength of a man, even in the midst of his stressful, trying, turbulent, twisted, and weak moments? Can you really handle his pain and his vulnerability and still see him as a king, a leader, and a champion if he tells you that the little boy in him still hurts when he sees a father with his son simply because his dad wasn't there for him? Or is it, you're a grown man now, get over it? Can you handle, I'm asking my queens right through here, up in here, up in here. Can you handle his vulnerability because he was touched inappropriately? Yeah, it's not just 1 in 3 girls. It's 1 in 6 boys, 1 in 6 guys. Oftentimes, men just don't refer to it. Men just don't talk about it. Can you handle a man's vulnerability? Because this month his money is funny. His change may be strange. His credit may not be able to get it. His nickel may be fickle. His dime may not have time. Can you handle his vulnerability when he feels stressed? When he doesn't know his next steps? See, here's some things that you may not have learned from your father, my dear sister from another mister. Here's some things that you may not have learned from the last man that you were ever with, much less any of the men that you were ever with, much less the marriage that you may have come out of, marriage that you may be in, the divorce that may have ensued. The unspoken things that I'm sharing with you that oftentimes men have on their heart, they have on their chest, but guess what? They got a vest over their chest. They got a bulletproof vest. A vulnerability-proof vest over their chest. Will be depressed, but you won't know it. They'll tell you their day is all right, but it is everything but that, and you won't know it. Can you handle his vulnerability? Yeah, he loves God, but he's trying to navigate his goals. He looks strong, but he's feeling weak. He's dedicated and he's depressed, all at the same time. But here's what happens. Oftentimes, it's not every woman, but there are a lot of women who are solely just focused on themselves that they can never be concerned about a man's needs. I believe the women who are watching me right now, no, that's not you. But some of your girlfriends, some of your homegirls have that mentality. To where now, when a man is struggling, you get word of it, you see it, you get wind of it, you don't know how to handle it. Because your view of a man is to always be strong. And what happens when a man has been strong for so long and he don't know how to be strong anymore? Doesn't know how to be strong anymore. We don't make excuses for it, but we have to identify it. The self-sabotage, the alcoholism, the depression, the suicidal ideation. So many brothers who are struggling with pornography. The father wounds, the mother wounds. God forbid, the domestic violence. We don't condone it, but we got to talk about it. You can't address the fruit of the actions without looking at the root that yielded the results. It's tight, but it's right. You have to get to know the man. You got to know his money, but you didn't get to know him. You got to know his body, but you didn't get to know him. You got to get to know how many followers he had on his social media, but you didn't get to know him. And he's more than that. He's more than his profession. Can you embrace him as a person? Family, type he motions. Type he motions. We're talking again. Man's got he motions. Man's got emotions. We're talking about the strength of a man. How to balance being tough and tender. And oftentimes it wasn't taught to us. It was grin and bear it. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Are you hurt or are you injured? Fall off a bike at the age of 4. Stop crying, be a man. No, I'm 4, not 44. Show me what to do when I get up. Show me that it's okay for me to cry and still maintain my manhood, my masculinity, my identity. It don't make me soft, it just makes me me. It makes me human. And here's the thing, you're not a human doing, you're a human being. Dedicated and depressed all at the same time, and oftentimes us as men, we just blockade it, we keep it inside. Somebody said, bruh, never tell her that. Don't confide in her. Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that. Matter of fact, I don't even know if she can handle that. See what I'm talking about? Everybody wants to be vulnerable until it's time to be vulnerable. Bruh, never tell her that. And woman's like, I don't even know if I can handle that. We know how to be Superman, but can you really handle me as Clark Kent? Let me say it twice because it's so nice. I know how to be Superman. You see me maybe as Superman. As men, we know how to be Superman. But can you really embrace me? Can you really handle me? Can you really still value me and still see me as a Superman? Even in my Clark Kentness. I know how to be Black Panther. But can you handle T'Challa? I know how to be the Hulk. But can you handle David Banner? I know how to be Batman. But can you embrace me as that man? When the cape is off, when the caricature has been thrown away, can you really embrace my true character? Not perfect, but I'm present. genuine. I'm authentic. And generally as a man, people are only pleased with us based upon our performance. Look at all the commercials whenever there's a sporting event going on. Look at it. All the commercials speak to a man's virility. Commercials that are focused on men. They speak to a man's performance. Because here's the thing, masculinity has become so performative, but not transformative. Come on, family, type transform. Masculinity doesn't just perform, masculinity transforms. If I can make just enough money, performance. If I can close this deal in the boardroom, performance. If I can just please and appease, performance. But transformative is, what can I do to heal? What can I do to get better? How can I love myself? How can I know my worth? How can I focus on not just pleasing people, but leading people? The power of a man is more than his performance. It's how he transforms his life. Family, we got more conversation coming to you. Stick and stay. On the other side of this break, it's more breakthrough. I got a special message for you after these messages. I'm coming right back. Are you an author or aspiring author interested in building your book? Do you want to develop as a speaker and communicator? Listen, check out my array of solutions and systems, like my bestseller book blueprint and successful speaker strategies. Explore my tailor-made programs designed to nurture your purpose and grow your greatness in order to increase your ideas, your impact, and your influence. Visit us today at theeaglesacademy.com/store so you can soar. Yes, y'all, and we don't stop. I need you to heed to those resources that you've heard. Family, let's get back to the word. We're talking about the strength of a man, how to balance being tough and tender. Masculinity seems to have always been performative. Make more money, I'm pleased. You have enough clout, I'm pleased. So as a consequence, we live our lives for affirmation rather than out of affirmation. Did you hear what I just said? We live our lives for affirmation rather than out of affirmation. And here's the thing, we're living our lives specifically for affirmation because we never received much, if at all, affirmation. You know when our affirmation came? Our affirmation came when we caught enough touchdowns on the field. Our affirmation came when we scored enough points. Our affirmation came when we got enough numbers from girls at the mall. Our affirmation came when we made enough money. Affirmation was solely performance-based. Affirmation was performative. Affirmation was not transformative. Think about it. When you think about it, when you think about, in many cases, how girls are socialized versus how guys are socialized. From the time that a woman comes out, from time that a girl comes out of her mother's womb, she's called a princess. She's called a queen. She's the best thing since sliced bread. When boys come into the world, everything that we are going to receive in regards to affirmation is based upon our level of achievement. If we don't achieve, We're thrown away. We're castigated. We're put aside. We're overlooked. We're underserved. We're underrepresented. So a man has to work to oftentimes feel worthy. That's why oftentimes a man's worth is in his work. Because he had to work to become and to receive any and everything that he possibly has. Being a man is hard work. But here's the thing, the hard work is worth it. May not always be fair. But how will you deal with the cards that have been dealt in your hand? Living for affirmation rather than living out of affirmation. Oftentimes we go through life living with rejection. Because here's the thing about rejection. Rejection was only tied to our performance when we didn't perform. When we didn't have enough money, when we didn't look a certain way, when we didn't have a particular type of status, much less stature, we were rejected. But here's what I want you to realize, my dear brother from another mother. Here's what I want you to realize, even my dear sister from another mister, is that rejection is direction. Rejection is redirection. Come on, family. Type rejection is redirection. Type rejection is direction. HTA, hard truth alert. HTC, hard truth conversation. This is what we're having. Can't say amen, say ouch. And here's what you need to realize. And before even you need to realize that, I want you to ask yourself this question. My brothers, especially, did your father ever tell you that he was proud of you? Think about that. Affirmation. Toughness and tenderness. Was your father ever tender enough to ask you the question? To make you think about that question. Was he ever proud of you? Why don't you think about that? Did he ever? I think he was proud of me. No, did he ever tell you? I know he would be proud of me. Did he ever tell you, though? My ladies, have you ever asked the man in your life, did your dad ever tell you he was proud? Openness, honesty. Did your father ever tell you that he was proud of you? Because oftentimes we're going to hear from our mothers. Listen, mama's so proud of us, we might not have even achieved anything. She's going to tell us she's proud of us. Absolutely. Could be the most heinous human being on the planet. You do one right thing. I'm proud of you, son. Mother's love is uncanny. But here's the thing. In the midst of the affirmation we receive from our mothers, it's nothing like the affirmation from a father. Did your dad ever tell you that he was proud of you? And here's the thing. Even if you didn't hear it, maybe you didn't hear it because his father didn't tell him. Do you see it? It becomes generational. It becomes cyclical. Do you see the cycle? A man's wounds will affect his ways. And when you don't get that affirmation in your childhood, you become like Dr. Sigmund Freud said, we are in adulthood what we have experienced in childhood. Nature versus nurture aspect. Because certain things in us were not nurtured. Now here's the thing. We adopt a rogue nature. So now you're searching for affirmation from everybody else. So now you're searching for affirmation from anything and everybody else because your father didn't come through. But here's the thing. You can't play the blame game all your life. Here's what you got to do. You have to reparent yourself. Heard somebody say this. They said they would take a photo of themselves as a young kid. And whether they look at it on their phone or whether they would look at it and actually print it out and put it on their mirror in their house. Here's what they would do because they did not receive certain affirmations from their father or their mother. They would affirm that little girl or that little boy that they saw in the picture. The little 6-year-old them, the little 8-year-old you. They began to reparent themselves. They began to tell themselves, yeah, there's a queen inside of you. There's a king inside of you. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of respect. You're worthy of attention. You will be a great man one day. You will be a great woman. You're so intelligent. You're so brilliant. You're so special. You mean the world to me. The world is going to be better because of you. You're such a darling daughter. You're such a sensational son. These are the types of words that are highly affirmative, that oftentimes we don't hear, but we need to speak over our own lives. Hear me? You're so tough because nobody was ever tender with you. And so here's what you do now. You're so self-critical of yourself. You're so tough with yourself. I need you to give yourself some grace. I need you to be tender with you. I need you to, here's what I need you to do. Handle yourself with care. Family, type fragile, do not drop. Come on, type it. Fragile, do not drop. Got a fragile do not drop label on your lives. Got a fragile do not drop label on your life. And here's the thing, many of us have been like Mephibosheth. In scripture, he was dropped by a nurse who should have nurtured him. She dropped him. And when she dropped him, he became lame. He was crippled. And rather than going through life, leaping, he lives his life limping. My dear brother from another mother, I want to ask you, who dropped you? Who should have healed you and helped you, but their hands hurt you and harmed you? Maybe it wasn't intentional, but it became monumental. Who dropped you? Was it your mother? Was it your father? Was it your girlfriend? Was it your ex? Was it your wife? Was it your ex-wife when the divorce proceedings took place? To where you lost custody of the children? Who dropped you? Was the people who conspired against you? Who dropped you to where now you feel less than a man? You feel insecure. You're dealing with pain internally, and now you express that same pain externally. You've adopted a hardened exterior to where you don't even want to embrace being tender. You just want to be tough. Adopted the mindset of a savage. Because you think the strength of a man is in you dominating other people. But no, it's in you dominating your purpose. It's in you, hear me, dominating what dominated you. The trauma tried to dominate you. The triggers dominated you. The pain dominated you. The abuse, the abandonment, the fatherlessness, the motherlessness, you being in foster care, it dominated you. Seemed like nobody cared. It's time for you to get back up. Come on, family, type get up. Get up. There was a seat at the table for Mephibosheth, from King David. I know they dropped you, but God's got a table for you. Did you hear what I just said? They may have dropped you, but God has a table for you. And hear me, at the table, we ain't focused on your legs. At the table, we're not focused on your disability. We're focused on the ability in the midst of a disability. Why? Because your greatest ability is your availability. At the table, it's about more than your wounds. It's about how you found wisdom from your wounds. God has prepared a table before you in the presence of your enemies. He's giving you a reserved seat. Because he's transforming your wounds into wisdom. That which is so performative into that which is transformative. How am I handling my wounds? You can't heal if you keep picking at the wound. Ladies, can I tell you something? You will never find a wound-free, woundless man. You will never find a woundless man. So here's what you got to do. You have to decide, what wound are you willing to live with? Y'all gonna talk to me? You have to decide, what particular wound in a man are you willing to deal with? Who do you have and what do you have the grace for? If you're looking for a woundless man, you're not going to find one. So you got to be honest with you and ask now, which one can I live with? As a man, you have to decide the wounds that you're going to address. Because if you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you. I need you to hear me. If you don't heal from the wound, it's going to deal with you. Whatever you don't heal from, it will deal with you. If you don't heal you, it's going to deal with you. What wound will you heal from? What wound will you deal with? God wants to bring wisdom out of your wounds. He doesn't just want you just to be a performative man, but a transformative man. One who recognizes identity is his masculinity, his manhood, the strength of a man in him being tough and tender at the same time. And you're not a weakling because of it. You're stronger as a result of it. To say, I'm a man, I'm a mature, assertive nurturer. That's my nature. It's time for you to rise up. You may have been dropped, but God's lifting you up. Come on, family, type rise. Rise and take off the disguise as a man. Rise and be that father. Rise and be that husband. Rise and develop in your identity. Rise and pursue your purpose. Rise and stop quitting. Quit quitting. Stop stopping. Rise and stop making excuses and move into a place of accountability, integrity, and identity. Because you got strength. You got strength to persevere, my brother. Sometimes you don't know how strong you are until being strong is your only option. You have no other option right now. You got to embrace, yes, the tough side, but you also have to embrace your tender side. Tender don't mean you're weak. Tender means you're meek and you have strength that has been subdued. Oh, you know you can go 0 to 100 real quick. You know you can start popping and ain't no stopping. You know it. But you're a matured man. You're a renewed man. You're a refined man. You're a healed man. And you're a man with a plan. You're God's man. Come on, family. Type God's man. You're God's man. You ain't the streets man. You ain't the prisons man. You're not your jobs man. You're God's man. And he's got a plan for your life. He plans to prosper you and not to harm you. He plans to heal you and help you, not to hurt you and harm you. He plans to lift you up, not to drop you like they did. He plans to renew you and improve you. Because the real you, the real man within is coming out. Family, I want you to sow into this word that you've heard. I want you to sow into this word that you've heard. God is renewing your strength like the eagles. Empowered to win, empowered to tap into your strength and your identity. To be tough while being tender at the same time. And make no apologies for your greatness. I want you to sow into this word that you've heard. Not as a debt that you owe, but seed that you sow. I want you to sow a seed. And I'm believing God is going to do 30, 60, 100-fold in your life. You can sow electronically. $Access Identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr, Gmail. We've been having a super conversation. Why don't you drop a super chat? Drop a super sticker. Sowing into the renewed man of you. You're sowing into the renewed man within you. My queen, you're sowing into the renewed man that you're expecting in your life, the renewed man that is in your life, the renewed son, the renewed father, the renewed grandfather, the renewed nephew, the renewed cousin, the renewed uncle, the renewed spouse in your house. I want you to sow into it, expecting God to do exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or think. And I want you to name your seed as you sow your seed. And I'm believing that God's going to meet the need. $Access Identity, Cash App, PayPal, EddieConnorJr, Gmail, for Zelle, Super Chat, Super Sticker. Links are in the chat. Links are in the description where you can sow. And I appreciate you. Thank you in advance for your Super Chat, your Super Sticker. Appreciate you for the seeds that you have sown, even electronically as well. Family, if you're not a part of our Eagles community, we go further and farther, beyond and deeper than where we are right now. You owe it to you to be in an amazing community of gifted leaders, of industry innovators. Be a part of my private group coaching. It's where I coach, where I teach, where I train, where I mentors, where we go into depth in various topics. We connect on the whole aspect of our breakout sessions in our Zoom room. We deal with homework that I will subscribe and prescribe to many of our Eagles to refine who it is that they are, to be metacognitive, to think about what it is that they're thinking about, to find the breakthrough in their blueprint, in their business, in their relationships. Go right now to theeaglesacademy.com. Yes, theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the Join Now button, fill out the form. I guarantee you're going to be transformed. Take a flight into your future in our Eagles community. I love the term Eagles, empowered, authentically gifted leaders envisioning success. That's who we are. I want you to join us where we are. TheEaglesAcademy.com. That's what it is. If you're not a member of our YouTube channel, it's a channel for change. It's a channel that creates change. It's a channel that breaks chains. Yeah, tap the join button on our channel to unlock VIP royalty, OQP tiers for exclusive behind the scenes footage, insight, information. I call it my Connor's Corner. Yeah, it's Connor's Corner. It's where I kick it with you. Not just here, but you really get to see me there. Join me. Family, In the Mix is out of time. But y'all know I'm not out of truth. So I want to thank you for rocking with me, riding with me, and rolling with me. Yes, because that's just how we roll. And we do that each and every single weekday, Monday through Friday, In the Mix. Right on social media, but also right here on this super station of YouTube. So while you're here on YouTube, I do want you to make sure that you hit the thumbs up button. I didn't ask you for that enough, but I hope you've been doing it as I've been talking to you. Hit the thumbs up button. Yes, it's been an explosion of inspiration and information. Hit the thumbs up button because it grows my channel. So I want to grow your greatness. Help me grow my channel. Subscribe to the channel as well. Yes, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. Follow me on all social sites at EddieConnorJr. Come on, family, put some respect on my name, EddieConnorJr. If I can help you, if I can serve you in any way, please reach out to me. I'd love to come and speak at your event. You're looking for a dynamic speaker? Look no further. I'm the man for the job. Invite me to speak at your church, your conference, your community center. Yeah, your men's conference too. Your graduation, your school, your session. Let's make some progression. Invite me in. You say, how do I do that? Email me, info@eddieconnor.com. I would be glad to be there to empower you. Yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother, and I mean that, from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know a brother got to run. But I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. I want you to remember, keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, and a whole lot brighter. Peace and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring higher. Let's soar beyond my YouTube channel. If you want something that goes beyond here, you're in for a treat. I have a private mentorship group where I coach, where I teach, and I provide live Q&A insight in our interactive breakout sessions. It's where I challenge you with innovative exercises to develop your skill set. And I provide feedback to foster your growth. We break it all down to build you up in our private Zoom room as we focus on transformative topics with accountability partners who really desire to grow their greatness by soaring into success and greater purpose. Come on, soar to new heights with us in our Eagles Academy. Get your wings to win, and let's soar into more at theeaglesacademy.com.